Nina Simone was born Eunice Kathleen Wayman in Tryon, North Carolina, on February 21, 1933, the sixth of 8 children. The Wayman family was rounded out by sisters Lucille, Dorothy, and Frances, and brothers John Irvin, Carol, Harold, and Sam. Perhaps foreshadowing the instability that would go on to define much of her life, her father, John Devine Wayman, worked various odd jobs, never sticking with one craft for too long. Mother Mary Kate was the granddaughter of slaves and came from a family of preachers, 15 of them in all, according to Simone. She carried on that storied tradition and became a traveling Methodist minister, supplementing the spare income with cleaning and domestic work. Tryon was a resort town which created, superficially at least, a more liberal racial atmosphere than in most of the South. It was not as rigidly segregated as other towns, said Carol Wayman, who would later become an educator and activist, forming the Africana Studies program at San Diego State University. Black neighborhoods scattered through Tryon. This also meant that Black people interacted more frequently with white people than they might in other places, playing sports together and working at the resort. Still, there was only so far such contact could go. One of my brother's friends who must have been, 19, 17, something. It was found that he was going with one of the white girls, said Carol. It was hush-hush. I didn't know about it. He had to get out of town one night, so we went. Why did he leave so soon? I began to understand he was not supposed to be going with whites. By Carol's count, the Waymans lived in about 7 different houses in the area. Frances, the youngest, described one of the residences as a wooden house that was not much to be desired. Very old, with a brick stove, an outhouse, no insulation, and a porch that had been enclosed to serve as an extra bedroom. You went out and you brought in buckets of water, she said. We had big round tin tubs, they called them. You heated the water on the wooden stove. That's how you took your Saturday night bath. It was such an ordeal that everybody took baths on Saturday night. And we had a garden. We had pigs and cows and chickens. We were very poor. Despite the family's poverty, Nina Simone's earliest images of her childhood were pleasant enough. My first conscious memory of my mother is her singing while she cooks, while she washed clothes, she said. She was always cheerful. We had a farm, a little bitsy one. Mama used to churn buttermilk on an old-fashioned churn, and she showed me how to do it. Most of all, I remember being with the other kids. Mama would cook for us, and sometimes she would say, I don't know where I'm going to get dinner. Sometimes we didn't have much to eat, and she would pray. And then by the time evening came on, we'd have enough food. To stretch the rations and feed her family of 10, Mary Kate would make what she called Wayman specials, dumplings or a concoction called vinegar pie. She canned fruits and vegetables to eat during the winter. Mama never seemed to worry about being poor or hungry, Simone said. We weren't ever hungry, 'cause Mama knew how to not do that. It is true we were very poor, but we didn't feel the poverty because of the way she did things. The singer's first recollections of her father were also charmingly bucolic. More approachable than her mother, he was light-hearted, even mischievous, and he and Eunice had a genuine intimacy, a special bond. My daddy putting me on his knee, rocking me to patty cake. My dad playing with me. I was his pet, she said. He had an old jalopy, a Model A Ford, and that thing used to make all kinds of noises. I could hear him clear across town coming home, and I would run up the hill through the woods to be there when he crossed that particular spot, to jump on the running board and go home with him. I would do this every day. His whole life was playing, she said in another instance. He played at everything. He didn't tell us any jokes. We were too young. But he was playful always. John Wayman's flair for entertaining, including his distinctive double whistle, was more than just a way to amuse his family and keep their spirits light. In fact, he and Mary Kate had started out performing on stage together. Daddy loved the St. Louis blues, had his spats, he could dance and sing, said Carol. He'd play his guitar, and he also played the harmonica. He was excellent at that. Had he not met Mother, he would have probably gone on to be on the stage.